Okay, so let's start with our pattern. So this is a really simple pattern. I think this is an Ohio star. I'm going to show you a different way to make quarter square triangles. I've showed it to you before, but you may not have seen it, so we're going to do it again. You need 4 patches of the ebony and 1 patch of the limelight, 3.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut a strip, and then
You're just joining us. This is the block of the week.
Block of the week.
Long.
There are kits. We have a list of people that have the kits. And I have a 3.5 inch ruler here too. So you need 1 3.5 inch square of the limelight. I am going to pull this off. So the way that you make these quarter square triangles, and if you look at the pattern, there's 4 of them on here. So the rotary instructions are here, and you could cut these out and sew them that way, but I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. So I'm just going to cut 2 5-inch squares of each color, and then we're going to end up with 4 squares that are 1/4 inch triangles. And to do that, we need to cut it over a little bit and trim it back. 2 5-inch squares. So the TL 2010 comes with this, it's the same walking foot, but you don't get the guide for if you were quilting and say you were doing cross hatching and you wanted to have even rows. This one comes with the guide.
Is it possible to get the upgraded walking foot? I think was a question.
It is, and I don't know the price of that off the top of my head, but if you message us, we will get that for you. Okay, so I'm going to use this tool. This is a Creative Grids. It's a 1/4 inch guide. So you just draw your line across this block. Oh, there it is. Buried or lost my pencil. So what I've done is I've drawn 2 lines on my block with just a pencil, just a regular lead pencil, and then we're going to sew down each of those lines, and then we're going to cut this block in half. Let me get my foot pedal positioned. Okay. Spin it around. And so then you're going to cut these in half, and then I'm going to jump over to the iron really quick. Normally I would use the the doohickey to straighten out these seams to press it, but I want a little bit flatter seam for this. So I'm going to come over here, press towards the dark side. Star Wars fans.
She's getting her inner nerd out there.
I am such a nerd. I do like to stack these up because it just makes it a little, I don't know, a little extra press as I'm doing these.
How's this sound doing? Good. All right. Testing our microphone. Test, test, test. Check, check, check.
What's the inner nerd?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's why you love me.
I do. So there's those. They're kind of hot right now. So then you're going to rotate these. And so we're going to do the same thing again. And then once we cut these in half, there's our quarter square triangles. So again, I'm going to use my tool and I'm going to draw lines, and you actually can see charcoal on black.
So we got some other questions that popped up. That pattern name is we're on block 2D, the block of the week. So this is a whole quilt, and I think you called it,
Amish Sampler. This is a quilt that I designed very early on when I started sewing. So you can tell because the blocks are really simple. But it does make a really pretty quilt. If you go to the website, the actual quilt pattern is on the website. We are only releasing the blocks one at a time. So each week you get a new block. So if you are making this with other than the solid fabrics that we're doing, please send us pictures because I would love to see it. I love it when quilters take a pattern and make it their own. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
And if some of them want to start from week 1.
Yeah. I mean, you can see how long these blocks take. They are super fast.
So, I mean, do we still have kits available then?
We do.
Still wanting to sign up? Let us know. And Carrie can get you blocks shipped out. We'll get you signed up. 42 weeks, right?
42 blocks.
2 blocks.
There's that one. Let's do this one. Okay. And then again, we're just going to cut this in half diagonally.
I think this must be one of the fastest ones you've done.
I think so. Well, this makes it really fast because look, I have all 4. I am going to use the doohickey here.
The multi-finger pressure tool?
Yep. So close.
As Chloe says.
So if you look at the reason I like this method is those seams just line up so perfectly, and it makes you look like you're this really expert sewer, but it's just a shortcut, and shortcuts are good. So now I'm going to take my 3.5-inch ruler, center it on that little seam right there. I'm going to push down kind of hard because the seam is kind of not flat, because I want to get these corners just right. I'm probably cutting on the worst spot on the mat.
Oh, the 36 inch.
36 inch. The 1 yard
Digits
line
now.
on our mat is well worn.
Oh no, it's time for another one.
It is.
We got a lot of fabric on this.
We do. Turn it around. Square up the
Hi,
other
Jane.
side.
Somebody wanted to see the front of the machine.
And there is your quarter square triangles. Normally I wouldn't do it, but I think on this one I'm actually going to press this seam open because I'm getting a little bit of bulk and I want to be able to rotate this. I am all about easy. This is something we do for joy in our lives, and if it's hard, I mean, nobody wants to do anything that's really difficult.
The skinny rulers, what are those called?
The skinny, these are
Sorry,
seam guide. This is a 9-inch seam guide, and this one is 15 inches. I wrote it down because I can't remember. The 9-inch is $2.99. The 15 is $3.99. Really just get both because sometimes it's, if you're working with small blocks like this is easier. Layer cakes. I think this is the longest part, pressing this seam open. All right, last one, and then we're going to piece this together. But this is a much easier method for doing these quarter square triangles. I use it everywhere I can. It looks so good when you're done. All done.
So, what's the rule on how much larger to cut the fabric squares to do this method?
To do this method, so that's a conversation that we could have for a while. Maybe one of these nights when we do our needles and thread episode, because we were talking about doing that for all of you.
Yeah, that would be a great show.
It would be a great show. So you're talking about, so when you look at the rotary cutting on this, it's always, okay, gonna make me wrong. When you're doing half square triangles, usually you're adding an 1/8 to your fabric, an 1/8 of an inch of fabric. I did 5 inches, and you can see I had maybe a 1/4 inch left over. I don't mind wasting that 1/4 inch because to me this makes it go faster, and for me it's the time that is valuable. So again, you're going to want to lay this block out and make sure all your pieces are turned in the right direction, and that looks right. So I'm going to piece this in rows. So I'm just going to start here. So I'm pressing my seam towards the solid block, not the pieced block. And then just laying it out and making sure I have it right, because sometimes things move on me from here to there. I tried to figure out how it happens. I haven't figured it out. But something from here, pick it up, put it here, and then somehow my block gets changed.
Is that the magnetic seam guide on that right
this,
there?
This is the magnetic seam guide. I do like it a lot. Especially when you're doing these quarter square triangles like this, you don't want to have to trade out your foot. So if you're using the 1/4 inch foot, it has a guide on the foot. But with the magnet, I can just pick it up and put it on something metal or the machine, and then keep going.
There are some machines that it does not work on.
There are some that it doesn't.
We've had customers attest to that, so.
Okay, again, I'm going to press my seam towards the solid block. Yeah, that's right. Looked wrong for a second. Okay. Last step. What did this take? A whole 15 minutes, 20 minutes? I'm just making sure my seams are nested here before I continue speeding on through. Comment and let us know what Valentine projects you've been working on.
And Joan put up a free pattern out there for everyone to download for Valentine's Day if you're interested in something to do.
And finished.
What?
Let's give it a quick press. I'm going to press all of these seams in the same direction, in one direction. Since we're using a sashing, it really doesn't matter. Lost some seam here. And I got one seam. There it is.
This is block 2D,
2D.
week 12, correct?
Week 12.
All right. So there it is, done in the books.
In the books.